Hello everyone, I'm Raphael at S.F.K Film Studios, and welcome to S.F.K. Today I have pretty big news concerning the Bendy Dark Revival trailer that came out around a week ago. Now, I've noticed something in the trailer that is pretty big news. We know in Bendy Machine, it takes place around 30 years after the rise of Joey Ju Studios. We know this because of the letter. And Joey Ju Studios rose around the 1930s, meaning in Bendy and the Ink Machine it takes place around the 1960s. And given the quality of the studio, I'd assume it had been closed down for at least 10 years, with the wood being broken and stuff and the walls cracked. It wouldn't be that stupid to assume that it had been closed for at least 10 years. Meaning it had a good run time of around 20 years. But anyway, in Bendy the Ink Machine and Bendy and Dark Revival, Bendy and the Dark Revival is not a prequel or a sequel, meaning it takes place at the same time of Bendy Ink Machine, but I wouldn't assume that it's in the same universe because, well, that just doesn't make sense. There's a huge visual upgrade. And what's the chance that Henry and Audrey actually come into contact? It's probably a different universe. So in this different universe, it probably happened a different way. Let's say Joey Ju Studios didn't close. Let's say it stayed open for all of those 30 years because we can see Audrey animating. And then, right after when she's done animating, we see her wander the studio, which that doesn't make sense if it's, still open, but it's nighttime outside. We can clearly see that. So, Joey Ju Studios is probably closed. Yeah, so it's closed, but something else caught my eye. The fact that Audrey was animating Bendy's bow tie red. So, throughout the 1930s, color was not a big thing. Actually, not a thing at all, because all CRTs, all box TVs, as some of you do not know what CRTs are, were black and white at the time. So, it'd be stupid to put color on a cartoon because it would just end up black and white no matter what. So, people just drew it black and white. So, if Audrey's drawing in color, that means it has to be a good time around the 1960s, because color became a big thing around the 1970s. It started around the 1940s, but it became a big thing around the 1970s. Because, this is the Walt Disney Company, the first companies that really started to use color. It's Joey Ju Studios, probably around the 60s, which makes sense considering that the timelines are aligned. Meaning that Joey Ju Studios never closed. We're just seeing it after hours. Joey Ju Studios is fine. And we now know what Bendy looks like. The exact same thing. Just with the red bow tie. Is that a reference to Mickey Mouse? So yeah.